This time we're going way back. Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 episodes of the classic Doctor Who series. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we'll be looking at the best stories and serials from the first run of this long-running British series. We'll be discussing key plot points here, so a spoiler alert is now in order.
Joe, it's all quite simple. I am he, and he is me.
And we are all together, Goo Goo Kichu?
What?
It's a song by the Beatles.
So without further ado, let's dematerialize and head into the time vortex.
A volcanic eruption in England.
It's unbelievable.
Yes, it's unbelievable.
Number 10, Pyramids of Mars.
I am Sutek the Destroyer. Where I tread, I leave nothing but dust and darkness.
This 4-part series sees the 4th Doctor and Sarah Jane encounter arguably one of the most powerful enemies the Doctor has ever confronted, the godlike Sutek the Destroyer. Imprisoned beneath a pyramid, Sutek is given the opportunity to break free.
Stand. Look upon my face.
He possesses an archaeologist and uses robot mummies to launch a rocket to destroy the Martian pyramid, keeping him in bondage. Sutek manages to be incredibly intimidating even when he's not physically there, in large part due to his sinister voice and potent mental abilities, the latter of which he uses to dominate even the Doctor's mind. With its gothic atmosphere and unforgettable villain, Pyramids of Mars will have you kneeling before the might of Sutek.
It is within my power to choose the manner of your death.
Number 9, The Curse of Fenric.
In the story of Dracula, this is where he came ashore.
Vampires!
No, not vampires, herbivores. Where Homo sapiens evolved into thousands of years in the future.
A vampiric species attacking a British military base during World War II may sound like a pretty standard setup for a Doctor Who story, but this 4-part outing for the 7th Doctor features an even greater threat lurking beneath the surface. Fenric, an ancient baddie, is responsible for the vampires, and we discover that he's been engaged in a long-running proverbial and literal chess match with the Doctor. The Curse of Fenric is also notable for the relatively uncommon focus given to the companion Ace. Over the course of the story, she must confront her unsolved hatred for her mother, whom she saves as an infant. In addition, the Doctor is forced to devastate Ace by telling her the truth, creating some heartbreaking drama.
What's wrong with me? Why can't I stop hating her?
You love the baby.
I didn't know she was my mum!
Number 8, The Tomb of the Cybermen.
We know of your intelligence.
Oh, thank you very much.
One of the things Doctor Who does exceptionally well is when it takes other genres and puts a sci-fi spin on them. In this case, in a plot reminiscent of a mummy monster movie, a group of archaeologists seeks out a hidden vault of Cybermen on Telos, with the 2nd Doctor inviting himself along once he hears them mention his old foes.
What is this, Ron?
I don't know. Possibly this is where the Cybermen are made.
Along with the expected traps and treachery, the Tomb of the Cybermen features some memorable elements like the Cybermen bursting from their tombs, as well as its quirky, grandiose soundtrack. Add in a few excellent character moments for the Doctor and his companions, and it's no mystery why this one's a classic of classic Who.
Our lives are different to anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. 'Cause nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
Number 7, Inferno. During the 3rd Doctor's banishment to Earth, he's called on to confer on a drilling project run by an arrogant professor.
I was just venturing an opinion. Based on what? Krakatoa, actually.
When his efforts to exercise caution are ignored, despite several deaths and the mutation of multiple men, the Doctor turns to his own experiments, which inadvertently send him to a parallel Earth.
Liz, it's me. Don't you recognize me? What's happened to everyone round here?
In this world that is run as a totalitarian state, the project is slightly ahead of that in his native dimension, a fact that allows him to see its disastrous, fiery consequences. The 7-part serial Inferno showcases the 3rd Doctor's hands-on attitude, as well as the era's theme of science run amok, in a 1984-like storyline.
The heat and the pressures will continue to build up until the Earth dissolves in a fury of expanding gases.
Number 6, The Ark in Space.
Cryogenic chamber.
Old principle, but I've never seen it applied on this scale.
In this beloved serial, the Fourth Doctor and his friends arrive on a space station where humans have slept in stasis. However, the crew and their precious cargo are terrorized by aggressive parasitic creatures, the Worm.
Switch on now!
Right!
Not bad for a lash up.
If you're thinking that sounds like a Doctor Who version of Alien, then you've got it backwards. This one came first. Though its effects haven't aged well, particularly that of green bubble wrap, the serial's iconic set, monster, and clever script have made it a favourite of Doctor Who fans. The Ark in Space also has the Doctor's admiration for humanity on full display, and when we see things through his eyes, it's not hard to share his appreciation.
It may be irrational of me, but human beings are quite my favourite species.
Number 5, Earthshock.
So, we meet again, Doctor.
The Fifth Doctor and his companions land themselves in the middle of a plot by the Cybermen to assassinate the leaders of an alliance by destroying Earth. First with a bomb, and then with a space freighter set to impact Earth.
Are we still going to Earth?
Yes.
Well then why lock off the coordinates?
Because I think they're turning us into a flying bomb.
Earthshock is a fine story, even echoing the Tomb of the Cybermen, but what truly elevates it is its ending. The Doctor's young friend Adric stays behind on the freighter, trying to regain control as it crashes into prehistoric Earth. Being the Doctor's companion has proven to be a trying and dangerous task, and while Adric is not the most popular of characters, there's no denying his death packs a punch. Number 4, The War Games.
There is no right of appeal. You will be executed at dawn tomorrow.
The Second Doctor and his friends find themselves amid warring soldiers from different points in Earth's history, and come up against the manipulative warlord and the villainous Time Lord, the War Chief. The Doctor isn't able to reverse all the damage on his own, so he's forced to call on his race for help.
The humans who died in our war games would have killed each other anyway.
Is your plea that the ends justify the means?
Yes, it is, and members of your own race agreed with me.
At a whopping 10 episodes long and over 4 hours in length, this serial can be a daunting prospect for viewers new to classic Doctor Who. However, the War Games includes many important milestones in the show's history, being the last story broadcast in black and white, Patrick Troughton's swan song as the Doctor, and the first appearance of the Time Lords.
All these evils I have fought, while you have done nothing but observe.
Number 3, City of Death.
Quite good. That's one of the great treasures of the universe, and you say quite good.
What does the Mona Lisa have to do with the birth of life on Earth? Everything as it happens. The Fourth Doctor and his Time Lady friend Ramona's trip to Paris is interrupted when they stumble upon a plot by a time-fractured alien named Scaroth. His plan? To sell multiple copies of the Mona Lisa that he grabbed from several different dimensions and use the resulting funds to research time travel. Ultimately, Scaroth hopes to travel back to the explosion that destroyed his ship, splintered him in time, and also jump-started human evolution in primordial times.
I wonder why he did it like that. The face of the clock is fractured.
Ah, almost like a crack in time.
Containing witty dialogue, on-location action in Paris, and a plot as brilliantly convoluted as the Doctor himself, City of Death is an absolute treat.
Where are we going?
Are you talking philosophically or geographically?
Philosophically.
Then we're going to lunch.
Number 2, The Caves of Androzani.
We'll be touching down in a couple of minutes, or more likely crashing down, you see. I'm a bit out of practice with manual landing, so if I were you, I'd find something firm to hang on to.
From the moment the Fifth Doctor and Perry landed on Androzani Minor, the pair is embroiled in a conflict involving gunrunners, androids, corrupt officials, and Shiraz Jek, a reclusive villain straight out of Phantom of the Opera.
Now I can feast my eyes on your delicacy and forget the pain and blackness in my mind. It's all in the past.
All sides are fighting over Spectrox, a drug that can make one live longer. Unfortunately, the Doctor and Perry are exposed to the drug in its raw form, which means the deadly toxin is slowly killing them.
Goodbye,
No, Perry, don't give up. You mustn't give up. What was that?
The Doctor is pushed to his absolute limit in his selfless struggle to save Perry's life before he ultimately regenerates. The Caves of Androzani is unusual since nearly every character is either in a moral grey area or outright evil. However, all this does is show us how heroic the Doctor truly is.
Is this death?
Before we reveal our top pick, here are a few honourable mentions.
Hello.
Hi.
Not interrupting anything.
I know how this place works.
I'm supposed to provide the face, am I? Mm-hmm. Very well.
Small human female sighted on level 3.
What are you calling small?
Number 1, Genesis of the Daleks.
No!
While this choice should come as no surprise, let's lay out what makes Genesis of the Daleks so good. The Fourth Doctor is tasked by the Time Lords with averting the Daleks' rise to power on the day of their creation. To do so, the Doctor and company must navigate a war zone and contend with the Daleks' maniacal creator, Davros. Though the 6-part serial is by no means perfect, did you see those killer clams?
What mistakes do they make? You will tell me?
No.
You will tell me?
No, I will not!
The series offers a gripping depiction of the Doctor wrestling with the idea of committing genocide against his worst enemies. Additionally, the revived series' former showrunner Russell T Davies has called these events the commencement of the Time War, which also makes Genesis an important link between classic and current Doctor Who.
If someone who knew the future pointed out a child to you and told you that that child would grow up totally evil, to be a ruthless dictator who would destroy millions of lives, could you then kill that child?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojoUK and subscribe for new videos every day.